Hey folks, hope you're all well. And right now you can evolve Kubfu up into Urshifu, but you might be wondering which version to go for.
Both. Both is good.
Of course, some of you might be able to obtain both, especially if you bought the Fuzzy Fighter Research, which gave you a second Kubfu, like myself. So eventually I will be able to obtain both evolution types, but maybe you're someone who only can get one, or you're trying to prioritize which one perhaps is best. So in this video I want to discuss two things. Firstly, which one is best to use in terms of the PvP rankings, its overall usage, and the second thing, which one is going to be easier to obtain. But let's quickly go through how to evolve the thing. You are going to need to equip it as your buddy. You are going to need 200 candies for each evolution, and then you are going to need to defeat 30 dark type Pokemon in raids or max battles to evolve it into the Single Strike, or 30 water type Pokemon in raids or max battles to evolve it into the Rapid Strike, for a grand total of 400 candies and 60 battles if you want to acquire both evolutions.
Shit.
But let's talk rankings and PvP usage. In the Great League, the Ultra League, and the Master League, there is going to be a clear winner each time. It's going to be Urshifu Single Strike, with its best performance being in the Master League. Of course, it's still early days, so these rankings can of course change and go up and down. I'm not particularly into PvP, I dabble, but of course if you are, this is going to be something to consider. In terms of moveset, Single Strike is obviously going to get access to fighting type moves, but also those dark type moves, and Rapid Strike is going to get access to those fighting type moves and those water type moves. But for now, in terms of overall ranking, Urshifu Single Strike is going to take it. But even if it does rank higher in PvP, there's actually quite a good argument as to why you should pick it in terms of its usefulness in max battles. Currently, we don't have access to a lot of dark types in terms of Gigantamax and Dynamax options. And as we can see here, we do have quite a lot of options in terms of water types for Dynamax and Gigantamax. So in my personal opinion, based on looking at that is another good reason as to why, if you are going to prioritize one over the other, you should pick the Single Strike, as it is going to give you access to another useful dark type, as obviously right now we've got Sableye, but that's really about it. But which version is going to be easier to obtain? Well, if we look at raids and max battles, we can see that some Pokemon are going to be dual types, dark and water, such as Kavana in those 1-star raids. So obviously that's going to help in terms of acquiring both. Some Pokemon are going to be water type or dark type and something else like Lapras, like Bombardier. Some Pokemon are obviously going to be easier to take down than others when farming the requirements. Obviously 1-star raids and max battles are going to be the easiest. You might want to take into consideration what side goals you might have as well. For example, I particularly want a shiny Dynamax Sableye, so I'm going to be farming those, and obviously at the same time that's going to go towards the requirement as well. One might also think about the frequency in which they'll see these Pokemon in raids and in max battles. For example, more max battle power spots versus raids. And just looking at this, you can see that there is slightly more water types to farm than dark types. Once again, it's important to consider the difficulty, but also the cost. For example, you can now use remote raids on those max battles, although I wouldn't recommend it unless you are in a particular hurry to do them and get the evolution. But the cost in terms of particles is obviously going to be less for example, Krabby and Squirtle than it is for the Sableye. It's therefore going to be more cost effective in terms of particles and your 800 particle limit, unless you pour money into this game to farm Krabbies and Squirtles and work towards that Rapid Strike evolution over the single strike one, and of course you're going to be able to defeat Krabby and Squirtle faster than you would with a Sableye. Right now there's also going to be available the Final Strike Go Battle Week timed research. Well worth completing, as upon completion you are going to unlock a extra free raid pass per day. Obviously the more raids you can do per day working towards either evolution is also going to speed up the process. But folks, what is the final verdict and which one should you choose? Well, based on my personal opinion and the findings, research and what we discussed in this video, if you're someone who just wants to rush the dex entry and you're not too fussed, and in terms of cost effectiveness, especially in terms of those max particles, then you could choose the Rapid Strike version. However, if you're someone who prioritizes PvP, or you're someone like me who wants to get a lot of usage out of it in terms of max battles, especially what we discussed prior, then like myself, you can choose the Single Strike version. But of course, ultimately the choice is yours, and hopefully this video did help you in deciding. Please leak slap the like button, as it is massively appreciated. As always, please everyone take care, and catch you all in the next one. Wait.